How about this from our buddy Jared Burson as Alabama beats Mississippi State 111 to 73. So this from Burson postgame. Alabama's 22 three-pointers tonight versus Mississippi State are the most ever by a team in a win over an AP top 25 opponent, ever. The Crimson Tide have scored 100-plus points versus 4 ranked opponents this season, the most 100-point outings versus ranked foes by any team since Kansas 2001-02. Tyler Hansborough, 111 to 73. Sometimes we're concerned about Alabama defensively, but you can never waver on this team's scoring ability. Chris Youngblood with 27, Mark Sears with 21. What makes you be the man at the top of the parade float for Alabama? Give me the pitch of why you think the Crimson Tide will cut down the nets.
Well, I like their combination. They have older players. Amorie, he's a fifth-year guy. Mark Sears, he's an older guy. Grant Nelson, also, he has some deep tournament run experience. But also their ability to play with pace, and also think athletically. When you look at Amorie, Grant Nelson, and even Sherrell, those guys can control the paint when they're not hitting shots. They can get rebounds. They can just win multiple ways. And I think the fact that they have these veteran guys that have experience, I think that has a lot of I think that really helps teams when it comes to the tournament and being able to prepare. I like that fact. I know that Mark Sears, he's faced some criticism, and he's responded. He's responded in a positive way. He's continued to play well. Even when he was criticized and wasn't playing well, he's bounced back. He's a Mark Sears, starting to play like the guy we thought he was going to be preseason. But also they have multiple weapons. The Chris Youngblood kid, he was a torch tonight. He lit him up. Had a big first half. And also the Holloway kid, he's kind of an underrated player. He can come in and he can light you up as well. He's athletic. They have length. They have everything that you want in a team, really, that can make a deep tournament run. That's why I'm out here pushing Alabama. I'm on the float, and I'm the picture guy for Alabama, trying to hype them up. But I've been on board with Alabama all year.
Michael?
Well, I agree with Tyler. We can talk about the players. I've talked about their lineup optionality all year. Their athleticism, their shooting ability, all that stuff. Can we talk about the coach? I mean, seriously. I mean, Nate Oats, this is one of the most complete performances of the season for Alabama tonight. And honestly, you can look at the 22 threes. It started on the defensive end tonight. And that's been a point of emphasis for Nate Oats. And I think his coaching job this year, and you can look at it and say, I know we always look at coaches of the year, it's got to be a guy that kind of comes out of nowhere. Team, he was projected X and ended up Y. This is obviously an Alabama team that I think was number 2 preseason, and Nate Oats isn't satisfied, and he knows that this was a really tough stretch and going to be a tough stretch schedule wise, and he's continued to challenge his team. I mean, just look at. Just sit here and think about this, right? You shelf your All-American in the LSU game, which just that alone, you have to have some balls on you to do and confidence in the rest of your team to do, and confidence in Mark Sears that it's not going to have a negative effect on his game. You do that because, the standard wasn't being met from an effort and from a defensive standpoint. And then you also say, hey, you know what? We're going to shift the starting lineup. We're going to put another on-ball guard next to Sears, and we're going to tell you, Mark, your efficiency is going to go up. You're still going to score at the level you are. We're just going to make you more efficient with what you do. So he did that. And then last game, and he knows that if there's anything that's going to stop this team, it's the defense. And he is so fixated, I think, on chasing a title that he will not settle. And last game against Kentucky, if you made a scouting report error, and the same thing went for tonight. You made a scouting report error defensively, you're out. He made 8 subs in the first 6 minutes of that game against Kentucky because they guys went under screens. Guys lost Kobe Brea. Maybe you didn't box out your guy. You didn't follow the scout on Andrew Carr. We wanted to stay off of him, and you committed all the way out to him and left a driving lane for Perry to get downhill and score a layup. Like he is on it right now. And we saw in the beginning of this game, they jumped on Mississippi State, not only because they made threes to start the game, it started defensively. They weren't comfortable, and guys didn't make scouting report errors. So I think he deserves so much credit for continuing to just not settle, knowing that you have a title contending team and saying that it's not good enough. And that to me, that is coaching at the highest level. And then just tonight, I mean, the 22 threes, we can get into that for a second. I mean, Mississippi State, when they've lost this year, they've gotten torched. I mean, their last 5 losses before this, all double-digit threes, one of those being Alabama in Starkville, 15 threes. They overcommit to the ball. They send 2, they load up, and it's good night when you face a team like Alabama that's got it going on both ends. You're going to lose by 30+.
You think about this for a moment, right? Alabama basketball, since 1991, before 2021, had gone to the Sweet 16 of the tournament one time, 2004. One time. This guy has taken them to 3 of the last 4 second weekends, takes them to the school's first ever Final Four last year, just their second Elite 8, and this year could make a second consecutive Final Four. He's going to do a 4th Sweet 16 in 5 years. Like, whoever gets stuck having to play them in the first 2 rounds, forget it. Just hand him the ticket. I'll be shocked. I will eat my shirt. I mean, nobody has to see that, but come on, man. That's not happening. This guy, Mike, what you just said is so spot on. And Tyler, I want to get your thoughts on this. The stones that it took for him to bench Sears, the stones that it takes. How many coaches right now are trying to still press a button? You know how many coaches are freaking tired? They're like, my team we are what we are. That's the difference between a guy who's let me win a game or 2, or let me win 3 games and it's a fine year, versus a guy, Tyler, who's I want to win the whole freaking thing. He's as good as anybody in the sport.
Yeah, and Fanta, that's one thing I've said about the transfer portal and this whole NIL era is it is taking away the ability to really coach kids hard. And I've gained a whole new respect for some of these coaches that come in and still do it the right way, because kids need discipline. And that is part of that of being a great coach is knowing how to discipline your team. And Nate Oats doing that. That was great to see. I've got a lot of respect for him from that aspect. And there's other guys out there that still coach hard and will still get on teams. But I think that this, kind of this era of college basketball, I think a lot of coaches are a little hesitant to get on players like they used to. And, I can't imagine Bobby Knight in this era. A guy like him who, every former player who's played for Knight, they have a lot of respect for him. I've heard nothing but good things, but he was a disciplined coach, and kids need that. And, that's one thing that I've gained respect for Nate Oats, but also I gained a lot of respect for Mark Sears, taking the criticism and then responding in a positive way, fixing his attitude, adjusting the way he plays a game, and doing what he needs to do to help his team. That was just something that is good to see, and that's the way you should handle it.
Tyler, could